So I've been wanting to make a commentary on the different advisors I see giving financial advice on YouTube videos, and so the whole essence of this video is just to say, be careful. Again, if you're a beginning trader, intermediate trader, you got to be careful about who you're paying attention to, because some of these people, they have a lot of charisma, a lot of confidence, and they're out there and they can actually give you some information that may end up setting you up for a bad situation in your account. And it could take you a while to recover depending on how many zeros you end up committing to a trade and how much you end up, obviously in this case, losing. So the problem is that there's no hoops to jump through anymore. You could just sit in a parking lot like I am right now. You have some, like I said, charisma and confidence, and you can actually create a lot of content. And you could just be, again, just starting out and listening, and you could be persuaded pretty easily. Back in my day, it was basically 8-page of newsletter. So this person had to have a publisher to actually set up the newsletter, know where to send it out by having a marketing division, and then they would end up having to buy a list. So there was actually expenses involved in actually setting up a newsletter, recommendations of some sort. And at the same time, they had to be somewhat, successful with their abilities to pick stocks and pick their recommendations, because if it wasn't, they're not going to get any more recommendations. And obviously there's a price to start up and to get in. So, again, these days you put a YouTube video up, it doesn't cost you anything. So like I said, just be careful. And again, I was on a market, I was on lists since I'm like a kid. I actually, used to send in to like Bazooka Joe for free stuff. So it was kind of funny. I actually would have a bunch of comics from the Bazooka Joe bubblegum company, and you send them in for like X-ray vision glasses or something like that. So by the time I'm 20, I'm getting information from this guy. Richard C. Young was one of them. I think it was Richard C. Young. I'm not sure. Richard Young, up out of New England someplace. And I guess he was either retired or he's still on a trading desk of some sort. And he introduced me to inverse yield and price ratios for bonds. And that was a big play back then, obviously the 80s. And then in the 90s, I remember he brought up Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway. And what a recommendation. I mean, it was $7,000. So like I said, if they wanted to charge $100 a year for the subscription and to maintain their subscribership, they actually had to have some reasonably good information. And I found them to be fairly trustworthy. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that don't take this information. I mean, recommendations are awesome, and listen to this information. If you can learn something from it, that's fine. It isn't that. It's actually applying it to a cash account is where you get hurt. If you end up just putting it on a simulator and you watch the recommendations for a while, if you have your patience, take your time. The longer you can last in this business, the better off you'll be, because then the more chance of success you'll have. And I'm talking to those people that really desire this type of lifestyle. I'm not talking to people that basically had COVID money and went on Robinhood accounts and started trading. I mean, that's a flash in the pan. And I'm not going to say there can't be outliers, and maybe they've done amazing, and maybe they can retire after just those 2 or 3 years of success. I'm not going to say anybody can't do anything. There's always miracles and impossibilities that come true. But what I'm saying is that the person that wants to really learn this business and wants to really be in it long term, it's going to take years. I mean, and somebody's telling you differently, then they're either lies or they're amazing. But I've just never seen somebody figure it out that fast, unless maybe they're going for training someplace, and that's very possible also. But I actually got involved in something called binary contracts probably about 6-7 years ago, and fortunately, again, I used the sim account, and that's what I would recommend you guys doing too, girls, guys, whatever. Have a sim account and set it up so that you have the different headings for the different people that you want to follow. Put the recommendations under the headings and follow them. Like I said, a month probably isn't going to do it. In my case, with the binary contracts, it did work out. It did work well. It worked out in the case where it showed me that it really wasn't something I want to get involved in. It was 8 trades, I believe, and a 9th trade wiped out all the profits from the first 8. So I was like, that wasn't for me. I don't really want that kind of drawdown and that type of volatility. So I ended up not doing it. But at the same time, it didn't cost me any of my psychology, because I didn't get in with real cash. The funny part is, and you wouldn't think your mind would work this way, if you get a recommendation from somebody and you take the loss and you end up making the trade on your own accord and you take the loss, it's the craziest thing. It's like it still affects your psychology the same. So if you lose, again, you lose $100,000 and somebody else's recommendation, it's like you're a loser. If you end up making the trade yourself, you lose $100,000, you're still a loser. It's crazy how your mind would work. You would think that if it's somebody else's recommendation, it wouldn't affect you the same, and that's not the case. So that's all I have to say today. But like I said, be careful, use a simulator, and have patience. Okay, good luck. Bye.